Going live. Okay. Hello, people. Give me 1 second. I do believe the mic is working. Another day. How's everyone doing? I hope this time there is going to be someone in the room, unlike last time. No one was in the room. Ended up talking to myself all by myself. Hey. We're just waiting for a few more minutes. I'm posting on X. I always do keep a record or let people know that I am live. Okay, so we will start in a few minutes. I did not pick that thumbnail. They automatically picked for me. I should have taken a photograph for this live stream. Now we wait. Some of the topics that we or I will be not discussing today are 2026 so far. How's everything gone? Then we're going to move on to social media, especially on X and my YouTube channel. Then we're going to be discussing about fintech and the future of crypto and my personal experience with Monday Friend Capital, aka Cashew Pay. We will start in 1 minute. Okay, so let's just give it a minute. See if anyone is on the live stream. I know I randomly popped on here, and right now is 1 o'clock in the US, but in the morning. Wow, okay. So right now it's afternoon here in Vietnam. Yes, I'm still in Vietnam. And it is a Sunday, kind of slow today. I think Sunday is kind of slow everywhere. Like people go to church um, on Sunday, temple, mosque. Okay, anyway, let's get going. So 2026 so far. Well, things are going good as far as me constantly making video, doing poetry, constantly on X. But then again, I feel like I'm on X because I like to share my creativity there. I like to write poems. I've been writing a lot of music. They're just rough draft for now, but X is a good place to get the news. But then again, I will go into social media in a little bit because it feels like we're back in the Jack Dorsey's era, and it is crazy. But yes, I'm still making video 90% of the time, like on a day-to-day basis. I go to the temples and I share my personal experience. However, this time I have a lot more self-control, meaning I share my personal life and not too much about politics. Like I share with you the Vietnamese culture, places I go to, mainly temples, nature, and I rarely do video at the market. For some reason, it's different here compared to Mexico. Maybe because I have the moped and I still spend a lot of time by myself. Like I go up to the mountain, I go to the temple, and maybe that's the reason why I like to be in places where I can be calm and collective and share with you the place, the culture, rather than the politics. Because I remember back in 2022 when I was in Mexico, Costa Rica, I mainly talked about politics. Um, I would say about 60% of the time, but this time around, about 10%. Like I touched base on it. In 2023, when I first came, there was still a little bit of the US politics that got to me. But then being here for so long, came back to the US and I'm here for the time being, you know, I spend more time just like learning about myself and the people. My friend, if you have never been to Vietnam, at least give it a try. This wasn't part of the conversation, but I will add it on there. Um, Vietnam taught me, okay, a lot of things, but the one takeaway that I want you to get is that when you're in Vietnam, you have to put yourself out there. Like for example, you go to a restaurant, right? And you want to order food. In America, we're subtle, we're quiet, we're like nice. American people are actually really, really nice people. I just disagree with the politics, okay? But the American people, when you travel to places, we are still the nicest people. Except the politics and the pedophiles. But anyway, Vietnam taught me to be more brave. When you go into the restaurant, you want to order food, you got to be loud. When you cross the street, you got to make eye contact. And if you are not the kind of me person, I mean, being too much me is not a good thing. But then at the same time, in Vietnam, you have to stand out. You have to stand out if you want something. You have to be strong. You have to be brave. Like for example, in I haven't experienced this myself, but in America, for example, if we're on a bus or if we're on a subway, and I can speak this personally for myself, if I see something that is unjust, um, I would have let it be. Meaning, if it doesn't involve me, I don't have to get involved. But being in Vietnam, it taught me a lot. Like, at least pay attention. If something is wrong, ask. Like, if people need help. Um, in 2024, when there was a storm in Halong, I remember it was probably September or October, and it was pretty bad. Uh, all of the, at least 70% of the places were torn down, like restaurants and roof, and even the place that I was at, the glass ceiling just came off, and I helped to install another one on there. Um, it was a very good experience, but during that storm, after the storm, like people came, like within 2 weeks, everything was back to normal. Like there is a sense of community here. Like they help one and another. And when if you're here on vacation, chances are you probably not going to experience that. But if you actually live here, and the fact that I can speak Vietnamese, it helps a little bit, actually a lot. And I'm able to go to the countryside and just like go to places. So even for a short while, come. Now, I don't recommend Ho Chi Minh City, or Hanoi would be okay. Ho Chi Minh or Saigon, it was too crowded for me. I still have nightmares about driving the moped. That's how many people are in the city. But the thing is, if you want to explore the culture, you got to go there. The reason why I don't recommend it because I don't like crowded places. And but the thing is, that is where the culture is. That is where you get to experience the heart of Vietnam, like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon, right? So even though from my perspective, you know, I don't recommend it. But you, my friend, if you've never been to Vietnam, those are the two places that you should go because they have everything. All the conveniences. Um, it will be easier for you to travel in general. And then Hue is one of the this year there was a major storm, but Hue has a profound history of Vietnam. I love how long because it is beautiful out there and there's not a lot of people. It's kind of like, how should I put it? When I recommend something, I want you to understand where I'm coming from. Okay, I'm the kind of person that I don't want to be in in a place where there are a lot of people. I get tired just looking at people. I don't know why that is, but that's just me. But I know the majority of people. I know you guys love to be surrounded by people in the city, all the restaurants and the shops, the conveniences. Go for it. Go for it. Um, but yeah, I recommend you come to Vietnam and visit. Definitely, definitely. Okay, back to, if you have any questions, leave it in the comment below and I will do my best to answer them. Anything about Vietnam, my experience. I think the total of time I've been here, uh, 2.5 years. So I do have some experience when it comes to being in Vietnam. I've learned a lot about the culture, but I can't say I know everything. My Vietnamese, I would say 7, 10, 6, 10, 7 out of 10. But that is that. What else? Um, so I've been writing a lot of songs lately, and I post them on X. I don't post them on YouTube, and I will get to that in a little bit. But I post them on X because it is convenience. And why the rough draft? Why not the perfection? So when I say rough draft, meaning that the beat doesn't belong to me. Second of all, I love to sing, but I'm not a professional singer. I do it because there it's like making video. It's kind of like writing poetry. You do it whenever there is a calling. And for the past month, I would say about a month now, I just kept on writing. It came, I wrote, and I got some of my old work, able to put them together. And the reason why I picked some of the beats that are for free on YouTube, they're free, but for non-commercial purpose. Okay, so you can't monetize that. And the reason why I picked those kind of those kind of beat because they're aligned. They're what I'm looking for at this time, at this moment in life. Because the artist who is making the beats, it's kind of like a piece of poetry, a story, a song. It's part of a soul. But now that AI is coming around, we don't know how long it's gonna last. And I gotta say, AI is doing pretty darn good at making music. Oh my God. I think creativity is gonna be thrown out the window, at least for now, until people get bored. Then they're gonna go back and search for real people, real artists. So from my perspective, when I listen to the beat and the words that I use and the rhythm that I match up with the beat is kind of like a collective, right? It's collective meaning that this when you look at a film production, it's not just the actor or actors and actresses. We got the film crew, we have the cameraman, we have like you have a bunch of people to create a production. And I think art should be that. It should consist well it should and shouldn't. It should because it's beautiful, but then again, some people are just super super extraordinary. They can make the beat, they have perfect pronunciation, they know multiple languages, they know how to express their emotions so that they can connect with other people. But yep, so that is 2026 so far, just constantly building the brand, uh, creativity, more creativity and more creativity. Yes, I'm still making video. Did I mention that? And just here, learning the culture. Eventually, I will save that for another live stream. But anyway, social media. Okay, as you know, about a month ago, I think it was about a month ago. Let me check here. I think YouTube kind of took away the. So if you have a YouTube account, there are three options. I believe it's general, intermediate, and then the other one is advanced. And advanced meaning you can have multiple. Like there are benefits to it. Your video get promoted, you get unlimited live stream and some other stuff. Okay, and I don't know why, but they took that away from me, and I made a post about it. And ever since then, like, I remember when every time when I posted a short videos, I would get hundreds of views. And for the past month, every time when I try it, I get like one view, two, three views at most, and that's for the shorts. And for the long format content, usually, I get on average from 3 to 5, 7, 10. And since then, it's only been like one or two. So I rarely go on here. And even on X, right? X, when Elon took over, he claimed that it was supposed to be a free speech platform, but now here we are going through the same problem. People are getting banned, especially with the war in Iran, and then with all the Epstein files that are coming out. People are getting banned left and right. And the future of social media, my friend, even during COVID, same thing. People spoke out and people got banned. And I remember that was the reason why I wasn't on YouTube, because when you put work, imagine you have a business, right? And at any moment they can shut you down because they don't like your opinion or about certain topic. And I think YouTube, social media, a lot of corporations, I think, they too big. They think that they're too big to fail. And at the same time, I think that is partially right, because we understand the problem, but we keep on feeding the beast. And most likely this live stream is going to get killed for me talking about this stuff. But then again, I mean, there are other channels out there that have millions of viewers, and they're able to talk about this. So anyway, social media, we're at a point where, like, we're back at the COVID era, where people get banned left and right for speaking out the truth. And whether it's the truth or not, uh, we should let people speak, because the moment you don't let them speak, people just automatically assume that it is the truth. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at. It's not just X, it's not just Facebook, but if you control the narrative or control the algorithms, you control the mind of the masses. And before social media, there was the mainstream media. And it's crazy, my friend. If you look at the current state of the world that we're in today, um, you know, the boomers, right? The boomers were the television era. No matter how much proof, no matter how what you present to them, they're going to stick with like Fox, CNN, MSNBC, blah blah blah. And then with the millennial, the Gen Z, I feel like it's kind of the same thing. Like when you control like what people see, and you're able to boost the likes, the comments, and you censor people, then only certain voices or topic is being amplified. And it's unfortunate. I hope we don't get there or go to that point, because we keep talking about China bad, authoritarian dictatorship. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we're the one that doing the same thing. America is really good at accusing people for something that they committed. With the Trump era, is the same thing. I used to support Trump. Let me be clear, okay? I used to support Trump, but the Trump administration turned 180 on the American people. I don't support him anymore. And I used to support him, but I understand what they did to him as well. Everything during the 2016, even up to the 2020, everything that the left did, the left is just as crazy as at the right, my friend. They're both crazy. Okay? Everything that they accused Trump of, they were guilty of it. And right now, because everything is so bad with Trump, his raiding and everything, he's making the left he's making the left he's making people perceive the left as the savior. I was looking for for words or a sentence, but there. And that's where we are. Okay. Wow. And man, when I go on X, I do want to share my creativity, but the algorithm, every social media, you got to understand that the time is currency. They want to keep you on there as long as possible. Second, it's it's about control. And I mean, you do have a choice, but you got to understand the science behind it, why they exist. A simple person would think social media is a good thing. We share things that we have in common, or things that we don't know, or things that we want to share with the world. And then, we it's supposed to bring people together. But the darker side is that it's quite the opposite. Um, and that is social media. That is where we're at. Okay. Wow. I've been talking for 24 minutes and then no one's in here. I know, different time zone. I get it. Okay, my friend. For those, because I'm assuming most of the people that are watching my channel are from America, from where I'm standing, because I'm on X a lot, and it sounds pretty bad. So how are you guys doing? I remember back in 2021 when I was taking a trip around the US. I mean, when I went from campsite to campsite, so I was able to witness it. But every time when I got on social media, it was like the worst. Like, it's like the most horrific failure of the country. And it was dangerous. When I was in Mexico, it was pretty bad. But then when I spoke to some of my friends and my family, they're like, yeah, it's normal. So right now I'm going through the same thing every time when I go on social media. It's like, holy shit, like America is burning, America is gone, America is going to hell. But I want to ask the people that live there, like my American friends, like, is it really bad? Because I think it is, but it's not to the point where like you go on the street and you start seeing people killing each other. Or, I mean, we've seen it with the previous administration, druggies, the immigration, everything was bad. But I think now it's just worse. But it's only worse for people that are paying attention and know what is going on. Regular people with regular job trying to support themselves, their family, they're not gonna care. So I want to get a feel of the people that are watching, or if you are from America, I would love to hear, how is it? Like, do you feel safe? Is inflation giving you and your family a hard time? Is it easy to find a job? What is the living expenses there? Um, so those are just some of the questions that you know, I would like to know, because I've been away. So being on social media, like, you only witness part of the picture. You don't witness the whole picture. So yeah, it would be great to know. The other thing that I also found out, I've done this on the previous. It wasn't a live stream. It was a 420 Christmas. Every Christmas, I do a 420 stand up. Like, I practice my 420 stand up, and usually the stand up is about what's happening within that year, or how I started my journey. But if you get a chance, my friend, and eventually I'm gonna go to China as well, just to the tech, like, when we talk about China, especially in America, and I've been through this, so I know there is a propaganda war with China. Now, we might not agree with the way that they run things, right? The way that China runs their country, but it is their country. They do whatever they want. The thing that you do have to give them credit for is that they lifted their population out of poverty. They're able to build infrastructure, probably the most advanced in the world. And when I look at America, like, because I was in that situation, like, having a job, um, you know, every paycheck, it went to debt. Like, in America, we're just working to live, like barely living, and we're hating another country because of the propaganda. But the more time I spend on social media, thank you to all the vloggers out there. There's a lot of them on YouTube. Like, you're able to see the true China. You can go to China and put all the politics aside. You're not the citizen of China. They do whatever they want with their country, but at least their people are living a good life. And this is my take, okay? The majority of people, they just want a decent job where they can make money, a place to stay, safe. You know, we can argue about privacy, sure, but I've mentioned before, a functioning family, privacy, at the end of the day, privacy does matter, whether you live in China, US, or whatever. And the reason why it matters to a certain degree is because eventually there might be a bad leader. And if you have no privacy whatsoever, it can lead, it can be detrimental, right? But completely private is also bad, because we've seen what people have done behind closed doors, right? Especially with all of the what do you call it, the Epstein files. That's the worst thing. And then with the FOIA, you know the Freedom of Information Act, you have to they every time when there is classified information, all of these classified information turn out to be like really, really, really dark, like dark to the point where people in America are just cattle and we're living on a plantation. When you start reading all these classified information, my friend, holy shit. But I'm all worked up, man. So this, my friend, is fermented rice wine. It's not even wine. Like the percentage of alcohol, like there's no alcohol in it, but because it's fermented from the sugar, so you get a little tiny bit of it. Okay, they're so good. I love it. But if you get a chance, I recommend that you go, and eventually I'm gonna go because I felt the same way with Mexico before I went. Right, everyone was telling me, "Oh my God, don't go to Mexico." Shh. And I'm pretty sure this is a generalization, but in every country, think of it as a family. Every family has rules that you have to abide by, and there are good family and there are bad family or members within that family, right? So, and a lot of the time you'll be surprised because how people treat us is how we treat them. And trust me, if you put the politics aside and you travel to places and you know, you are sincerely being yourself, you want to learn, you want to explore the world, you're not going to have a hard time. You're going to have a good time, but you got to be cautious though. Be cautious, be alert, like I said, people in America, Americans are nice people. And I think the reason we're nice is because we kind of have everything for, ever since the, I mean, America is rich in resources and the fact that we have the money printer, because I feel like when people can only be nice when they have enough. And being an American citizen or national, back then, it was plentiful. But it comes to the point where when people abuse the money printer, which is the fiat system, then eventually F around and find out, that we're living on a plantation. There was a reason for feeding us, giving us housing. It's kind of like raising cattle. It's come to the point where, hey, it's time to, what is that word? Kind of like it's time to get the meat, right? Or take it to the slaughterhouse. But when you go and travel, I've been to Mexico, Costa Rica, and Vietnam. I become more sharp. I become more sharp, more cautious. Um, I always assume the good in people, but then at the same time, I'm also aware that I shouldn't leave my shit out. Like I've heard so many stories, like two. But you go to the beach, don't bring your passport, don't bring your phones, and go swim in the beach and just leave it there. Have some common sense. It's I've done some videos on the YouTube channel like safety, basic things. I mean, don't get drunk at like 2 o'clock in the morning and don't know where you are. Just be alert, common sense, right? And if you need help, holler at your boy. But that is about it. Like when you travel, you meet regular people. Regular people are super nice, okay? But when you talk about politics and business, these are the people that are, highly driven, highly motivated, and highly they can be the best for society and they can be the worst. If I have to guess, I would say about 60% to 70% are just is a kind of a zero sum game, right? You win and you lose. Um, I would say actually I'll change that to 70 or even 80. Only about 20%, in my opinion, of the people that are in the higher upper echelon, like business people, political people, are actually for the people. But the majority, they operate how a human should operate, and they're learning as they go. But anyway, I do recommend that you visit China, and if you vlog, oh, that's even better because that's what I'm gonna do. Um, and no, they don't live in sweatshops. They don't work in sweatshops. They're not being ruled by a dictator. They have set of rules that they work by. It's different from us, but it's working for them. And when you go there, you should pay attention to the population, their way of life, and the infrastructures. Okay, man. In I'm thinking of Seattle, Washington. We have the Columbia Tower, we have some Ferris wheel, we have the Space Needle, but I think most of the infrastructures in America, as far as I know, because I'm not an infrastructure kind of guy. Like if it's there, I'll pay attention. If not, then I don't. But I think a lot of it are in the military, and then a lot of it are just like like company like Apple, uh, Microsoft, just all the big companies. That's where all the techs are. But as far as like building roads, like roads, high speed trains, or like we don't have that. We don't have that. I still think about all the potholes, in the state of Washington. But yeah, so that's what and buildings are just buildings, like, so definitely visit. Okay, so let's go to the last topic here, my friend. Okay, so fintech and crypto. Now, where we are with fintech and crypto, I'll briefly summarize. I was really frustrated when I transferred to crypto. I, I, I went from regular banking. I'm just a regular guy. I went from regular banking. I went into crypto, and then for one reason, because if it's my money and I work hard for my money, I should have the right to spend it without anyone questioning what I'm going to spend it for. I mean, other than like illegal activities, we're excluding that, like hookers and cocaine, we're excluding that. We're just talking about, hey, if I have $10,000, I should be able to take $10,000 out of, my bank account, buy a car, go to, if strip club is legal, I should be able to go to the strip club. I should be able to do what I want. I shouldn't have to ask for permission. Now, here's the thing. Traditional banking, right? I mean, for the last 5 years, when I started crypto, there were times like if you take over 10,000, they will ask you what is it for, and I mean they don't give you a hard time. They just want to know, which is fine. But I just don't think you have to answer to them because it is your money, and the moment that it's in there, I mean, they can check the source, where it came from, your paycheck, your business, or friends or family. um, but anyway, they still give it to you. They just want to know. Now, going into fintech and crypto, I've seen so many stories, especially with crypto. Centralized exchanges can freeze your fund and indefinitely. It can based on terms of service. They can make up reason, or without giving you a reason, they can out of nowhere requests for KYC or more KYC. They can give you a bunch of reasons. And most people, if you don't have a big social media following, if you don't have like, you're just a regular person, you have to beg them like, hey, how's my case doing? Hey, how's this? How's that? When it is your money, my friend, that, I just, in my opinion, it shouldn't be a way to conduct a business. Like, for example, the way that I see it, and the law should be fair and equal. Meaning, if a business is providing a service and if client is paying for the service, it is part of their or the contract that they have to fulfill the service. And if they can't give back the money, it's that simple. But you don't freeze people money because, oh, there is suspicious activity, we have to get involved, we need this, we need that. And the reason why I know a lot of time they're BSing is because there are so many cases on X. Over the years, I've personally experienced them myself. But what it came down to, from my understanding, is about speech, is about control. Because a lot of these people they spoke the truth. Now, whether it's the truth or not, it's just against the mainstream narrative. And especially during the COVID era and now with this, so in my opinion, a lot of it was because they were outspoken. Now, with traditional banking, right? Even with the rule of law, if someone committed a crime, you have to prove it and you arrest them. With crypto with crypto and fintech, right? They can just ban you and you have to prove that, hey, this money is legitimate. You see what I'm saying? And that, my friend, that's the difference. Like, it's like you being held hostage for your money, and you have to prove to them that it is legitimate. And if you can't, then who knows? Based on the terms of service, they can hold it indefinitely. And that's where it's frustrating, because at least with cash and tangible assets, you still have control. But the moment you go into digital, now at this point, CDBC is not even a question. I think I read somewhere on X, they signed to ban CBDC, but the real CBDC are stable coins, right? And to me, as of right now, I just don't believe anything anymore. I'm just waiting for the .com 2.0 to crash. That is when we're going to realize, okay, which company is there for real, which companies are there to control for real. By the way, not recently, but I bring this up because I worked with Monty Friend Capital, right? Now it's Cashew Pay. And I'll tell you the story briefly. Hopefully it doesn't take like 30 minutes. But pretty much it's a fintech company, it's a conversion, credit conversion. They take your business credit card, they convert it to cash for your business, whatever. You pay 6% and then $40 on top of each transaction. Okay, so I did that. And then on August 21st of 2025, they charged my credit card. And it's supposed to be 7 days to 14 days, And then after the 14 days, I asked them, hey, where's the money? And they told me there's a problem with the third payment processor. So, that's the key word, third payment processor. So they don't actually do anything. They facilitate, So I was like, oh, okay, I'll wait. And they told me that, they're going to get it fixed. So months and months and months, well, actually, about a month later, around October or something, I went on Trust Pilots and I saw the reviews. Like, customers were able to get their conversion, and I hit them up and I was like, hey, what happened to mine? It's, I've been waiting, and this is a month in, um, more than a month in, and they told me the same thing, like, oh, we have problem with our with third payment system. And I asked them, how come you're able to process it for other people? And I remember he gave me something, but he gave me some answer, but I forgot. But I remember I got on the phone with them and I strictly asked them, so as of this point, you're not processing any payments for any conversion for new clients? And they strictly told me no. Okay, so in the month of November, we went on and off, went on and off. I asked them, hey, where's the conversion? And they told me it's the third party payment system. And I was like, okay, is there a time frame? And they were like, no, there's no ETA, And they told me if I want the money back, I can always dispute the dispute with my credit card. So, but I didn't, because I was under the impression that, oh, it's good, it's third payment party processor. They're having a problem. They're gonna get it fixed, and I'm gonna get my conversion. So I didn't. And then later on, in the month of November, I pressed them, and they told me that, oh, it wasn't the third payment processor. They turned off their payment. They turned off their payment processor on their end for the transition from Monday Friend Capital to Cash You Pay. And that's when I found out, bro, just give me my money back. Why do I have to dispute it? Just like, where's the money? Who's holding the money? And they told me that they have no control over the money. They, blah blah blah. So I took it to Twitter, and I reached out to Jay Gray Friend. He's the founder of Money Friend Capital. I inboxed him. I was like, I actually commented on his page a few times before I got his attention, to let him know, hey, this is my case, right? So he inboxed me, and then I asked him for the email and said that he would get back the next day. I gave him my email. He never got back. And I started posting a thread. I tagged him and some of the people that I contacted with support, and the co-founder, and I documented everything of the whole 6 months. Then we're at a point where, after I called him out, he blocked me, and Cash You Pay also blocked me. What else? Cash You Pay is fully operational for the last 2 weeks. They blame it on the payment processor or the transition, but now that Cash You Pay is fully operational, I still don't see my fund, and I'm getting blocked. And then this whole time, right? They said that they stopped the payment for Monty Friend Capital. I don't know if it's true. I don't see any reviews on there, but their website is still live, and I can only assume that business as usual. I can't prove it, but my assumption, if you close a business, the website should be with it. However, if you go on the BBB, the Better Business Bureau, their page is on there, but I think it got closed during the month of around January, and my payment was processed on. I keep looking over here because I think I thought the camera is over there, but it was on August 21st of 2025. They say that they don't hold on to the payment, but they're the one that facilitated. And if there is a problem with the payment, it is their responsibility to know or to give me an answer. Where is the fund? Instead of completely ignore me. Like I started the thread 2 months ago. I tagged them in every post. I provided the evidence or text messages. The only thing I haven't provided is the recording, and we'll save that for some other time. But it has to do with legal issue. You can't just like dox people or dox the conversation and stuff like that. So But this is what I'm talking about, my friend. First of all, if I were to go after them, it costs money. It costs like lawyer money, and it costs the time. It's just the amount is not justified to do all of that, and people get away with it. Uh, and I've been making posts and trying to make some noise on social media because my account is so small. It will take some time, and that is also the reason why I'm bringing it up in this live stream, and I tag them in the description so that people are aware. I've tried to uh, solve the issue with them behind closed door, but every time they told me that they escalated my case, they never got back to me. Sometimes it can be like 4 days, a week, but I always have to you know to reach out to them. And the crazy part is, it got to the point where, like, hey, all these times, and this is like 4 or 5 months in, right? I told them, because I'm documenting everything. I asked them all these times when you told me that you escalated my case to higher management, provide me the ticket numbers, like all of the ticket numbers for my account. And they were like, yeah, we'll provide it, but they ended up always deflecting that they did to answer. And I just don't think, from my personal experience, their intent is unethical, because they told me that, oh, third payment processor, and then the transition, and then now that everything is working and I still don't see the fun and they block me, it means that their intent is unethical and they don't intend to refund my money. So I have to make noise about it. And this is what I'm talking about, going, into the future of fintech and crypto. I reported to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and that is one of the things that you should always go, to make a complaint. And they couldn't do anything about it because it is out of their jurisdiction. I've also reported a complaint with the Arizona Attorney General office and the Massachusetts Attorney General's office, because that's where MFC is located. But they couldn't do anything because they are the middleman, right? So they kind of operate in this area, and pretty much, if you read the contract, is in their benefit. But then there are some other things that that I've documented that is very shady. They if you want to check it out, just go on my Twitter, on my Twitter page, and there is a thread that I have on there, and you can, you have any question, ask me about it, or you can ask me here. But anyway, my friend, that is that. The future of digital is, if there is no regulations, like, you provide, like, for me, business should be very simple. You shouldn't have like hundreds of pages for the terms of service. Like, for example, a business should be fairly easy. Either you provide, like, if you provide a business, people pay, the person pays for it, and you can't fulfill it, return it. Don't come up with random BS story, try to hold people's fun. If you do business, it should not be political, right? If people express their opinion, let them express their opinion. Because you're founded in a country where freedom of speech is still available, or to some degree. But I feel like, you know, we're switching from the analog plantation to a digital plantation, and that's why a lot of these, like, cryptos and fintech companies or payment companies, they don't have to explain anymore. They just do, and they can do whatever they like. And if you have money, you can go after them. But a lot of the little guy, including myself, like, you don't have a voice on social media. You don't have more money to hire a lawyer to go after them, and they know they get away with it. But in life, humans A lot of the time, a lot of the problems that we have in our society, if humans are open to communicate, because my friend, on the internet, it sounds crazy and all, and people are so objective of one and another. I'm switching topic here, but you go on X, you see people fight all the time. If you go outside and you know you see the person that you are fighting with, chances are you guys will get along. But it's just people have this weird thing on the internet where they just don't want to face it anymore. They don't want to have a face-to-face conversation or even a conversation. They're like, it's kind of like, I'm protected, screw you, whatever. And that's the thing. That's why I made the post to raise awareness, and I also added into this live stream to raise awareness, because if the company is still small and they're going big, because I think the niche that they're going for, I think it's going to be very valuable for business people. But just the way that they operate is unethical, and it is my responsibility. I just don't like it when people say one thing and do another. I'm becoming like the Candace Owens now. If you don't know who Candace Owens at this time, you should check her out. Understand what is going on with the world. What is the reality we're living in is so messed up, my friend. It's so messed up. But anyway, be aware, warning to anyone who is working with Cashew Pay. Before you work with them, go check out my thread or what I just said in this video. Anyway, my friend, that is it for the live stream 2026. I'm here for another hour. Nobody was in the room, but eventually there will be some people that will watch it, and I'll post it on X. Actually, it's already posted. So anyway, happy 2026, and I will do another live stream whenever I feel like it. Namaste.